Good morning and welcome to the middle of the African bush here on Djuma Private Game Reserve. We do apologise for the tech difficulties this morning, but we have been out and about spending time with the incredible Nkuhumas and two Birmingham boys. Lots of activity happening here at the Buffalo Kill. Lots of playing. The males just chased a female off the carcass and getting a good feed. We are literally surrounded by little lion cubs. And as you can see, there's not much left of that buffalo. Oh, here comes a little horror. He's coming to inspect us by the looks of things. Oh, look at the power of that male. He actually moved the whole carcass. I was quite surprised they didn't drag it into the shade yesterday. And everyone's got full bellies and was feeling a little lazy. There you go. Good morning. My name is Brent. I have Dangerous Dave, the objectified dish, on camera today. And we are looking forward to a spectacular sunrise safari. James and Brian are out looking for leopards in another part of the reserve. But for the moment, we're going to sit tight with the Nkuhuma pride. Remember, this is a live African safari. And you can send us questions by using the hashtag SafariLive, or send us an email to questions@WildEarthTV. Now, we had that incredible dust storm and incredible winds last night, and we'll keep on that curve. Come out a bit, Dave. There's to the left. There's an attack about to happen. There we go. And there's this cub who's not facing another cub who's looking like stalking. Are you going to do it? Ooh, thinking about it. Nice cool morning, so the cubs are very, very active, playing around, jumping on each other, jumping on mom, even jumping on a Birmingham boy occasionally. See, there's the stalk. And he's going for the little Ooh, there we go, isn't that cute? So that's one of the older cubs and the younger cub. It's difficult to hear all the wonderful sounds this morning due to this bustling wind. The wind has not stopped overnight, and it is a very chilly morning, but that's great for the lions. Oh, look at that. He's pulling the whole carcass over, trying to get to what little meat is left. So, two Birmingham boys here. We did see a third on yesterday's sunset safari, about 2 kilometers from here. Morning, Jared. Jared says, this is amazing. There are lions everywhere. Indeed, there are. There are 5 lionesses, 8 cubs and 2 males, 16 in total, spread all around us. Now, while the males will not tolerate generally a female feeding at the same time as them, they are tolerant of the cubs, as we can see, although that cub is more playing with its food than actually eating. It's pretending it caught the buffalo all by itself. Now, Jen is wondering, are all the cubs here? Indeed, they are, Jen. All 8. So from the smallest to the biggest, all the cubs are here. So we are hoping for a bit of sun to break through the clouds. The sun has risen over the eastern horizon, and hopefully we're going to be getting some magnificent light on these lions shortly. There's a bit of cloud cover, but it's breaking up quite nicely. So I think we're going to be in for a treat in about 10 to 15 minutes. I think the light's going to be really good. So all those screenshotters out there, get ready, because I think you're going to get some magnificent screenshots this sunrise safari. Remember to share your screenshots with us, and you can do that by popping them on our Facebook page, which is Safari Live, or share them on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live. Okay, so while we wait for the light to get perfect, Commander Bond is waiting to say good morning. So there's that wonderful sunrise that I think is going to produce some magnificent light for us shortly. And we are sitting right next to the male while he is busy feasting. So let's have a look. The cubs have moved a little bit further away from us. So there we go. There's the big male. Now, for me, it's incredible how much the Birminghams have grown in the last year and a half that we've been watching them, from almost very skinny little teenaged manes to these magnificent beasts we see today. As you can see, the light is getting better. What we will do is we will move shortly, try to get a better view of the cubs, but let's just focus on the big boy. They seem to have stopped playing a little bit. Ooh, just look at the back quickly. Dave, you see the male furthest away, the cub is climbing on him, but he's not looking too impressed with him. Oh, Mom got a bit worried. Now, Robin says, with all those lions in one place, doesn't the smell of all their defecation become overwhelming? Well, not too bad, Robin, but I think probably when it's a bit hotter this afternoon, it's going to be quite bad, but it's still worth it because we get to sit with lion cubs. Now, that other Birmingham seems to be sequestering one of the lionesses to the side, so she's probably about to come into estrus, and that's why he's doing it. And let's move around and see what's happening on that side of the sighting. And the one Birmingham to the left, and he's not letting her anywhere near the other male, so she's probably about to come into estrus. Oh, there we go. You can hear this lioness who's walking and calling. Oh, get ready. I think it's going to be a cub attack. Hello, Mom. Miss Djuma. That's just too sweet. Lovely little greeting. As I said, I think she went off to have a drink at the waterhole. Isn't that just lovely? just going to focus on this wonderful interaction between the lioness and the cubs at the moment, and the wonderful audio that they're providing, those incredible noises the cubs make. There's a little argument about milk there that caused that, all those noises. Isn't this just too special? Serious complaints going on. See, look at this. As that female gets up, that male is trying to shepherd her. Now, if she's making her way towards the carcass, he's going to charge at the other male more than likely. Let's just get in a position where we can see that, if it does happen. Oh dear. So we're going to have to go across to James. I've got a flat tyre and I need to get out of here before the tyre gets too flat. And I have to change the tyre right next to Lions. So I'm going to just make my way out of here quickly, and then I'll be back in a few minutes. We're just going to change the tyre very quickly. So let's go across to James. Yes, we do apologise, but driving off-road, we do get flat tyres from time to time. So rather than have a completely flat tyre within 4 meters of the line, we decided it was more sensible to dash to safety, change the tyre, and then come back. And unfortunately, yes, everyone's gone to doo-doo while we've been gone, except one male lion still on the carcass. And we'll move a little bit later. Here he is. So he's still eating, but literally the rest of the pride are fast asleep. Well, I know it wasn't quite 7 seconds, but I do feel Dave and I did a very good job. I think it was under 5 minutes. And unlike the Mercedes pit crew, whose wheels are very close to the ground, I suppose, also ours, but ooh, he's pulling the carcass. And unlike the Mercedes pit crew, I think who those wheels are specially designed to weigh about 0.5 kilogram, and these big, heavy stainless steel rims and stuff that we have tend to weigh a little more. But we got our morning gym. Looks like he's got into a position he's happy with again. And if we move around, we can see lots of sleeping lions. We've got the two two of the lionesses fast asleep in front of us here. And then just to the left of them, it's the Birmingham, who's got, I can't see which lioness it is, who's using a piece of elephant dung as a pillow presently. Look at that. Look at that. See that? She looks very comfortable on that piece of elephant dung. And the Birmingham, who's following her every move. So it's not amber. So it must be what was the baby of the last litter. So this sub-adult, who's now a full adult lioness. And so if she does have cubs, it'll be her first litter. And hopefully that does come in. The Birmingham boy is Mr. Split Lip. And now if we have a look at his lip, and you can see the remnants of that wound, and it has healed incredibly well. And probably, it's actually this work cycle, so not even that long ago, that was quite the gaping wound. I'm just going to see if I can find it. There we go. So there we go. That's what it looked like less than 3 weeks ago. So you can see that split there, and you can see how quickly it's healed. Oh, Dave. Look at that. Incredible power of a male lion. Look at that. It's amazing how strong male lions are. And you just drag that whole carcass without even trying. I said, not much left, quite a lot of skin still, but there is meat underneath it, and that's what he's after. Andrew is wondering how much lions eat. Well, Andrew, they're able to gorge themselves in a single sitting, eating about 60 pounds of meat. But on average, if we take all the kills they make in a month, they eat about 14 pounds a day. So when he moves and drags that carcass around, it's just to get to some bits of meat that are left. William is wondering, at what age does a male lion's mane start showing? Well, you can actually see it when they're about 7 or 8 months, they start getting really fluffy around the neck. But I mean, you can, just from physically the size compared to the female cubs, you can see it from earlier on. But I'd say, really fully developed mane's only about 5 to 6 years old, this age that you're looking at now. Their manes have developed incredibly over the last year. Oh. Now, she looks like she wants to go back to the carcass, but if she does that, there could be some interesting interaction between the males. So get ready. He might be a bit of a male lion fight shortly. Can you hear the growling? Oh, sorry, my head's in the way. But she's decided not to get there. But the growling started immediately from the male on the carcass as soon as the other male came closer. But she's been slowly working her way towards the carcass. But while we watch what's playing out with the line dynamics, James has got a great big grey beast. So we've had a swap over of males. So the second male, oh, look at this. This is going to cause something. Get ready, guys. So she's immediately gone to flirt with the male who was feeding, who the other male's been protecting her from. So I'm just putting my head down. Now there's growling. There could be a bit of pandemonium shortly. As soon as that male started feeding, she's like, yes, escape. So you see everyone's up and about. And sense that there's a potential for pandemonium. Okay, it all seems to be calming down again. Here he comes. Okay, so status quo seems to have been reached again. Now, a huge welcome to Rosanna in New Zealand, who is a new viewer. Welcome to Safari Live, Rosanna. Now, Rosanna's wondering how many times in a year will a lioness come into estrus. Now, that is very dependent, Rosanna, on what's going on. If they've got cubs, they will take those cubs through to adulthood, which is about 3 years old, before they come into estrus again. But if the cubs are killed, they'll come into estrus within 2 weeks. So they are able to come into estrus frequently. Their gestation periods are also very short, only about, 90 to 110 days. So they are able to produce cubs quite quickly if they lose cubs. Oh, let's see what happens here now. There's one of the lionesses heading towards the carcass. Now, will the male decide, just because someone else is eating, they want it? He's lifted his head, he's thinking about it. No, it doesn't look too stressful. Well, there we go. And you can see they've got lots of big fat bellies. But this cool weather will definitely suit them. As it gets warmer during the day, the lions will become less and less active as they need to digest. And they have quite a lot of trouble dispelling heat. They're unable to sweat like us, so they have to pant and lie in the shade. Hi, Susan from Georgia, who's another new viewer. Susan says, at what age will the cubs start eating meat? They seemed curious about the carcass yesterday, but not really that curious about the meat. Susan, all these cubs are eating meat. They can eat meat from about 6 weeks old. The problem is that they're so fat at the moment, and they're coupling the meat with mother's milk, that they're not as entertained by the carcass. But when this kill was first made, when James came here yesterday, Sunrise Safari, they had been stuck in. They were apparently covered in blood. But you can see why. They've got multiple sources of food. There they are, suckling on mom. Well, not all of them, but one of the nice things about being in a pride, and also in a pride where there's quite a few cubs of the same age, lions practice allo-suckling. What this means is that all the females who have cubs will suckle the other females' cubs. It's a one way to ensure if maybe one female is not producing as much milk, that the cubs will still be cared for. Now, there's some very interesting studies going on at the moment that seem to lead towards the fact that lions will almost sync their estrus cycles or have estrus cycles very close to each other, the females in the pride, so they are able to practice allo-suckling. So there can be multiple females all producing milk when the cubs are at a milk drinking age. Now, they're only weaned at about 6 months, but they become less and less dependent on milk after about 3 months, 3.5 months, 4 months maybe. But at the moment, they still are very dependent on milk. I think the oldest cubs are probably coming close to 4 months now. Oh, here come the Battalier squad. And vultures. Vultures pulling. There we go, here come the vultures. Well, just beyond our view, you can see there at the top of the screen, just behind the bushes, there's a vulture sitting on top of a dead branch. Now, Gen B is wondering, will a nursing lioness need to drink more water than one that's lactating? No, not necessarily, Jen. They need to eat more meat and drink more blood. And that's what helps them. Oh, there we go. Upset. Cubs are getting a little bit feisty on the teats. Now, the thing that woke those lions up was the arrival of vultures. Lions do not like vultures. They will chase them if they come on the ground anywhere near their kills. Now, see, the one who stood up, now there's about 5 or 6 little cubs all trying to feed on 4 teeth, so this could be quite noisy. There's one taking advantage. Well, if mom's standing up, doesn't mean I can't have a drink. It's a bit more difficult, but I will try. Oh, there we go. Hi, Ma. We can hear, oh, there we go. Too much fighting. Other mom's up. Enough of this nonsense, little ones. Must share. So you can see that lioness, that one there. You can see how her ears are going a bit flat. She's getting a little bit irritated with the cubs. She might snap at them. Tell them to behave. do you think everything is going to settle down again around the Nkuhumas? We'll just see what happens, but we're probably going to move out, let some other people come in here. We will try and maybe come back before the end of the safari. So we're going to leave the Nkuhumas to enjoy their nice cold windy morning and see what else we can find out here. While we do that, let's go see what James has been up to.
Well, I don't know how much of a surprise it is, everybody. I didn't tell you I was coming here. But here we are, the lions, and one of them is feeding. Well, one cub is feeding. 2 lionesses are having something to eat. A nice breakfast for them of rotting buffalo carcass. Delicious, Brian, isn't it? Doesn't it make you very hungry? It does. And that little cub getting right in on the action there. And then, off to the left-hand side here, sort of in front of us, we've got the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the little cubs, and the 2 mums, and a big male. There, Fern, pull in. Hello, Donnie. You're wondering about our proximity to them, and you say we get so close to them. Do they ever get worked up by how close we get? Donnie, they do. It's not that unusual for them to give us a little warning, which would be a little growl, but we watch their behavior very carefully, Donnie, and then, because they're so confident as lions, they generally don't react to us at all. Now, it's sometimes a little different with leopards. They will, if they feel uncomfortable, they'll get up and move away. And lions will often do the same sort of thing, but sometimes they give you a bit of a growl to say, you know, that's close enough. But, I mean, we've had situations recently, especially with the 3 youngest cubs here and their mother, and what they did was they would come right up close to the vehicle, and then the mum would get up and come and investigate what they were looking at, and she'd lie down within 2 or 3 feet of us. So, you know, they're so confident in their own ability and their own strength and in their own dominance that they don't tend to worry too much about our presence. But I mean, it does, I know it seems totally incongruous, totally illogical. Alright, let's quickly go back to Tingana. I believe Brent might be tired of watching the flat cat, and let's go and see. The Nkuhuma cubs are just playing in the window. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted by a vulture that's coming in. I thought it wasn't a vulture for a second. I thought it was a gymnogene, but it is indeed a vulture. And that's why that lioness has got up. She's seen them circling now, and she's not going to tolerate them eating at the kill. Oh, look at that picture you've got there. Isn't that sweet? Hello, Mobile Paddy. You're wondering if there are any other male coalitions. Remember, we don't refer to the male groups as prides, there's coalitions. Oh, it's my favourite when they come and they play with the males. Mobile Paddy, you want to know if there are any male coalitions in the area that might be about to challenge or coming of age and able to challenge the Birmingham boys? Not that I know of, Mobile Paddy. There were those, what were they called, Brian? Those young males, wasn't the Sticks. It was not the Tsalala, that funny group, the Shimungwe Pride. Shimungwe's had 3 males, and they were around here. They were around for a little while, and we thought maybe they might be sort of a challenge, but I suspect they've moved off. So no, nothing around here at the moment, and you don't really want it to be. What you want is new blood. So eventually, when the challenge does come, what you want is for it to come from, say, the Kruger, from another area completely. And there's also some dispute as to whether these are actually the Birmingham boys at all. That dispute is being created by Gerry Camacho, who reckons that these are not the Birmingham Cubs that everyone thinks they were. It would not surprise me one tiny little bit to find that they weren't who we thought they were. It's almost impossible to keep track of male lions from the time they're born to the time they take over a territory. And I've watched countless lion documentaries where supposedly the male lions who take over an area are a specific set of cubs that have been watched. And it's patently obvious that that just isn't the case. And Sandra, you're wondering why they called the Birmingham... Ooh, the two lionesses are just having a little bit of a fight at the carcass there. Despite the fact that they can barely eat because they're so full. Sandra, they call the Birmingham boys because they come from a farm called Birmingham. And that farm called Birmingham is in the Timbavati, which is not too far from here. But in the Timbavati, they were born, apparently, to a litter, part of what's known as the Birmingham Pride. And Herbert actually spent quite a lot of time there. And he actually, if these are the cubs that everyone thinks they are, then Herbert knew them as tiny little babies when they were born there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think our very own Hayden Turner coined the term the Birmingham Boys, didn't he, Brian? I think he did. The Birmingham Boys, of course, were a nasty gang that operated in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. And so it was quite an appropriate name for these gangsters. And Michael, you're wondering that if these females, the new females here, if they grow to adulthood and independence within this pride, is there a chance that they could mate with their father? Yeah, absolutely. Happens a lot. Happens very often. And as you say, they're not very old at the moment. They're probably maybe 5, maybe 5.5, these boys. And so for them, I mean, conceivably 2.5 years from now, when these young cubs are ready to have their first litters, they could easily still be in power, the Birminghams. So it is entirely possible. Indeed, it is likely. Is it bad? No. Were it to happen again the next generation after that, would there be a problem? Yes, quite possibly. Happens all the time with lions, and quite possibly with leopards too. Oh, there's a lovely smell now coming out of the southeast, isn't there, Brian? Rotting buffalo just before breakfast. Enough to drive a man salivating with hunger. I don't know, Bedros, you've got a very good question. You say, can the cubs tell who their mother is? Given that they cross-suckle, do they just see any lioness as their mother? I'm going to say I think they can tell. Because lionesses can recognize each other. They recognize the difference between each other. I don't see why the cubs wouldn't recognize the difference. Yeah, so no, I think that they recognize each other. Absolutely, they cross-suckle, but they do recognize each other. I'm just going to move slightly. I think the site of the, well, I don't know. Let's go slightly forward, and then we'll go back. We'll go back towards the kill site. I just want to move here because we'll get a better view of the cubs, but we're not going to have such a good view of the kill. That's now behind the trees. Is it disastrous, Brian? Is it okay? Here comes one of the lionesses. One of the only non-lactating lionesses. That's Amber Eyes. Now watch this. Watch these little cubs. They might try and suckle on her. They were trying yesterday. And she got very cross with them. Now everyone is very tired. Justin, you've obviously seen some video of lionesses picking cubs up by the scruff of the neck, and you want to know how she does that without causing pain. Justin, I'm not convinced that she doesn't cause pain, and I think it's that slight bit of pain that makes the cub go completely limp. So I think it probably does hurt a little bit, but she doesn't break the skin. And she doesn't break the skin because it's that loose skin that you find on dogs and cats behind the head. And so she doesn't cause them any injury, but I'm not convinced that there isn't a slight bit of pain there. I mean, they're massive canine teeth that she's using to pick them up. Right, I'm going to try one more reposition for you. Just behind this bush, and try not to make too much noise. How's that? Is that alright? Now the other lioness is coming in. Look at that. Wonderful lion affection taking place, and that's how their bonds are reaffirmed. See that cub trying to suckle from Amber Eyes there, who very clearly does not lactating. And here comes the other little cub. Say hello to Dad. Hello Kolu, you're a new viewer and you live in Oregon, and it's great to have you with us. And you say, can lions eat spoiled or rotting meat? They can, Kolu, and they do all the time. That buffalo carcass that we've been looking at is very smelly indeed, and it is rotting. But they've got very, very powerful stomach digestive enzymes, very acidic stomachs, and they're able to eat things that you and I struggle to smell, let alone eat. So they have no problem eating completely rotten and what we would describe as spoiled meat. Yeah, no problem at all. Hyenas even more so. Oh, another nice one from Oregon. Sally, you're wondering if I think that given how sort of she's reticent that mother of the youngest cubs has been about introducing them to the pride, do I think she'll go away again and have some alone time with the cubs now that she has been at a kill with them and kind of introduced them to the pride? Sally, I'm going to say no, I don't think she will, but I'm not going to say it's impossible that she might. So she could easily decide to take them off and spend some time on her own with them, but I don't think it's going to happen, no. I don't know if you can hear them shouting. We're not going to turn the ambient mic up because the wind is too strong, but they are screaming at the mother, those little things. She's getting very irritated. And it's no longer the sweetest sound in the world. It's starting already to get quite harsh. And thank you for your screenshots, everybody. It's lovely to have them. They're a great record. They're all getting so cross. The male is almost looking resigned about the noise that he's having to cope with. One of them, Brian, if you go over to the left there, has gone to the other male and to the unlactating mating female, or potentially mating female. And he's tried to get some milk from there, and that has not worked out particularly well for him. But I think Brent is back on Djuma. Let's go and find out where he is, and I think he'll probably say, bid you a fond good morning. We haven't moved. The lines have moved slightly, but generally the state of play is as follows. To the far left, a mating female, or possibly estrus female, with her consort, who is far too tired to be wooing her with flowers or impala lilies, as was the case I explained to you earlier today. Then moving on from them, we have, I think, two of the teddy bear cubs. They're the youngest ones. Probably all three of them, they're actually lying next to each other. They're my favourite. And then to the right of them slightly, we've got two lionesses reaffirming their social bonds, saying sorry to each other for fighting over the meat despite the fact that there was enough for everybody. Sorry I shouted at you, sorry I hit you on the face, sorry I stuck my claw in your eye, no problem, we'll get over it. Now, one of them is Amber Eyes, she is not pregnant, and then to the right of that, the three mothers there, and what is either an uncle or a father down below there, and in between them the five slightly older cubs. Wonderful little scene. And Justin, you want to know when a meow becomes a roar. These cats never have a real meow. It just sounds a bit like a meow when they're younger, but it's already rasping when they're born. It's already quite a rasping sound, born of the fact that they do have what we call an elasticated hyoid apparatus. All you need to know about that is that the voice box shakes up and down, where it doesn't in other cats. That's why they have those rasping noises. He is very, very peaceful. That might be the fattest lion I've ever seen. Very peaceful little grooming scene. I think these chaps are going to sit here under this tree for the next little while, possibly for the rest of the day. They'll definitely move off by the time the night comes, I think, and they'll go and see what else they can find as they patrol this incredible landscape. That is going to be it from us today, everyone. It's been a wonderful little drive with you. Thank